So for me, one of the weirdest things that I made was the alternate reality game from 2018, which I've only mentioned a few times. It was this weird thing because it was a story based like puzzle thing that took place over the internet, but it required a lot of Unity and Blender to get all the artwork done, and it required me making like bespoke software that people would open, and I would like talk to them as characters through this piece of software. It was quite enjoyable. That was really weird because it was very mixed media more than anything I'd done before, but it was quite fun. So yeah.
Are you like into ARGs and stuff like this?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you ever like partaken in one?
Well, it's weird because I kind of want to at some points. I mean, there was one for No Man's Sky, the game, a little while back that I sort of took part in, but mine ran parallel, and there was a weird crossover moment where people mistook my ARG for the one that was running for No Man's Sky, and it started appearing on their subreddit, and then a company was being hired out to do their ARG. And I actually had some contact with their community manager, and we became pretty good friends actually. And then we had to clarify to the No Man's Sky community that no, what's being made here is not related. So that was quite interesting.
I'm glad they didn't send you an angry email. You know.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know what ARG meant till like a month ago.
Right.
That's how much into gaming I am. I'm like I'm at the most basic level of gaming. It's like first person shooters. And when I was young, it was football games with my dad.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know the real world of gaming like many of you do.
ARG is a very obscure thing. Like not many people know about it, and even fewer take part in that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like a lot of the people. For you, it makes perfect sense to play that kind of thing because you make the stuff, you make art for it, all that. But for me, it's like I don't have the time to make it. But so like for me, all I have time for is Warzone. And then I'm back to work.
Yeah.
It's like I wake up, I work, at night I can play Warzone, then I go to bed. It's like I don't have time for a really long. But an ARG sounds so fun to me.
Yeah.
Like when I retire, whenever that is, I would love to get into like a really long game where I can just get into it. And like even Southern Shotty told me, just talking about anxiety, he was like, you should get a game that you can just wind down to. That's not super stressful.
Yeah.
Well, ARGs is like you're gonna be going crazy trying to like understand what these 8 random letters mean and what part of the earth you need to travel to.
Yeah,
that would act. But for me, it's like in terms of anxiety, it's what helps my anxiety is getting my mind off of something. So that would help.
Sorry, I want to give other people an opportunity to talk, but it was just quite a funny point there because one thing I learned while being the game master for this ARG called Entropy, you can find it on the Game Detectives wiki, was that like people always try and interpret things in over complex ways. So, and it's kind of it's also my fault a bit because I invented like this whole new language alphabet type thing with like 128 characters in it. They were mostly like digraph type things, so like a consonant and a vowel mixed together to make sounds. And there was also a mathematical system that went along with it, but it was all based on symbols. And it was some very simple stuff like, okay, this plus this equals this, like to try and teach them how to use it. But then they would bring in all these other random algorithms from the web and try and apply it. And I would be like, no, it's just simple, but you can't tell them that. So I spent like weeks watching people frustratedly try and figure it out. And everyone comes along like, oh yeah, I know what it is. And then they get it wrong. And you're just like, oh God, this is going to go on for ages.
Like, oh yes, marionette cipher.
Yeah, exactly.
Displays all letters by 5, and
exactly. People were like, people were writing programs to try and like decipher some of the things, and I was like, wow, that's dedication.
Anybody else do ARG stuff?
It's like people trying to decipher your logo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
True.
no one knows like all the reasons behind that. I'll leave it for now. Someone else carry on.
Thing.
What is it?
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say one of your GUI tutorials.
Yeah, this thing.
How did you feel when you
I have no idea what the heck that is.
That's the
How did
coronavirus.
I felt satisfied. I was like,
is that a satisfying animation?
It was a satisfying animation. I was like, oh, I made that. I have no idea what the hell that is, but I made it.
You're discovering new things about yourself. You're like, wow, this was quite enjoyable. Maybe I'll do more.
Satisfaction is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I was like, it's a creature. I know that, and it moves kind of on its own, and I like that. And I drop it in a scene, and it does this thing, and then I put some water in there and made it splash around. And I'm like,
Yeah, no rigging
fun.
required as well. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no rigging. It was no rigging at all.
Simulation.
Yeah, it was all cloth simulation. Yeah, you saw the video. I was like, what? I was like, let me try to do that because I saw like I've done stuff like that in Houdini, and I'm like, I'm gonna just try that in Blender, and I put it in Blender, and I'm like, hey, that works. And so that was just like the most bizarre thing because I was like, I'm gonna do a video on this. I don't know why, but I just want to, and that's how I did it, and then I just made that thing. I'm like, what? That was like the most weird thing I did because there's no directionless, aimless. I'm like, it worked, and it just looked kind of cool.
It's a bit Lovecraftian, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah, in a way. It was like just kind of pointless.
That's kind of what I was thinking of.
Macabre.
Pixxo, on a scale 1 to 10, how attractive do you find that? 5's average.
It's interesting visually.
And if it had a good personality, would you date?
No.
If you saw it on Bumble, which direction would you swipe?
All right. No. Pixxo, what's the weirdest thing you've made?
I don't think I've made anything specifically weird, but I have done a lot of weird alien kind of sculptures.
Yeah.
Like there was a time I was doing just a lot of alien creature sculpts, because I had ZBrush for quite a while, and I was a lot of the tutorials you do are pretty much creature tutorials.
Yeah.
So it's either anime girls or there's creatures.
That's true.
That come to tutorials. So I went with creatures. So I've made a lot of like really weird creatures.
Yeah. Oh my god. That reminds me of like whenever I scroll past ArtStation, I'm making mental notes of how many like sexualized feminine characters there are. Because it's really disproportionate. I mean,
I like making.
Sorry, I was going to say people.
It's fun making alien creatures because you go ahead.
No. I was just going to say that like people can make what they want. I don't want it to sound like I'm like overly judging it, but there is definitely a consistent theme. Like, but yeah, carry on.
I think if I knew how to do character modeling and stuff, I would probably be on there to do satire of how much that's there, and I would kind of do like the complete opposite just to make fun of it.
Yeah,
I would love to do that.
There used to be go on.
I kind of like doing alien and creature sculpts because, like, it's really hard to do a person or a human because we're just so equipped to kind of like see a face doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But if you do like some sort of alien creature, like it's an alien creature, like you can kind of get away with it.
Yeah,
you know
there's no rules.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
like a.
Although there are some sort of rules you can follow with anatomy and stuff that can help you out, but. You definitely have a lot more freedom to kind of like get away with things, I reckon.
That's very true.
I wonder
human characters is hard.
I wonder if like obviously you can't get this number, but how many like alien creatures that us people on Earth have designed, like how many species exist on the internet? Like you could see Star Wars, how many are in there? Like how many people have made a unique species of their own design? That'd be an interesting number.
Something that always impresses me is that whenever I'm on Pinterest, there's always artwork that I've never seen before, even in specific categories. And whenever I'm on there, like, geez, I didn't know there were this many artists in the world. Damn.
No.
Everybody's an artist when they're born, and then they get out of it.
They have it beaten out of them. You will be an investment banker.
You're gonna be a doctor. There's about as many doctors as there are species and made on the internet. For my answer, I don't think I've ever made anything weird. I mean, whenever I was before 3D in my Photoshop days, I was trying to find the best way to like stand out on my Instagram account. And so I would take portraits and I would take their face and smear it. And I found like my own unique way of taking like a pixel sorting and then smoothing that out and doing something cool. And that was kind of like my Instagram page for a long time. It's very like creepy, but I was proud of it because like, yeah, no one looks like this.
Yeah.
And then now when you're in Blender, you just use the what's it called? Proportional editing, random. You can do that in one stroke, and then now you have some crazy weird looking monsters. So similar to Pixels, I would just make like little monsters, but characters are not my strong suit. Like once the face is distorted, I can't animate it unless I throw it on Mixamo. But yeah, I've never made something super weird in my time.